Hey, what's going on, Fragrance family? This is Tyler Simply Fragrances, and today I'm bringing my full in-depth review over the new Z Creator 2.0 edition of the Immortals. This is Andrea's fragrance in collaboration with George Zaharoff, and I know that Anthony had a hand to do with this as well. So if you want to see what my full thoughts on this fragrance are, be sure and keep it right. Alright guys, welcome back. Like I said, my name is Tyler. This is my channel, Simply Fragrances, where we talk everything fragrance related. We're doing top 10 videos, we're doing seasonal videos, we're doing fragrance reviews, interviews, weekly fragrance rotations, everything that encompasses fragrances you can find right here. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, be sure and hit that red subscribe button. And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for the love and support you've shown this channel over the years. So like I said guys, this is the new Z Creator 2.0 edition fragrance of the Immortals. This is Andrea and Anthony's fragrance in collaboration with George Zaharoff. So thank you guys so much for the time and dedication and all the hard work you put into this. They have turned out awesome. So let's go ahead and get into this fragrance. Let's go ahead and start out with the presentation. I'm going to leave a little video up there for you guys to look at as I talk about it. So it'll cut away here in just a second, but let's go ahead and get into this. So as we look at, let's go ahead and do the bottle. Forgive the clashing around. So let's go ahead and look at this bottle, so the box, sorry. So whenever you get this, you're just greeted with this really intense, awesome artwork. I really do appreciate this. So you have this snake in the shape of an eternity symbol on here, and then if you look at the eye, it's actually the Zaharoff Z. I think that is an awesome attention to detail. Love is in the details, George always said. Awesome presentation. And if you feel the scales, they're actually raised up, like they feel like snake scales. It's absolutely insane. The whole snake itself is actually raised up, and then under that it says of the Immortals. This is actually Andrea's handwriting, super cool. And then you do have the 120 ml or 4 fluid ounces, and then it's got this plate on there. It's a metal plate, and it's not gray, it's not white, it's kind of a matte white, kind of in between gray and white. So it's kind of this really unique color, absolutely gorgeous. And then on the sides and on the back here is where the real cool artwork is at. So it's almost kind of like, I don't want to say what's the word I'm looking for, foil, but it almost looks like there's some like, it almost looks like foil on there when you shine foil or gold tin or something like that into the light, how it reflects and shines. It's got that, but it's got the different gods and goddesses. I believe it's 12 or 13 of the Greek gods and goddesses. That's what she was going for. That is her ancestry and background. So really cool there. You can see Poseidon and a couple of the others there. It looks like Ares, maybe there's Zeus with a thunderbolt here on the side. So really awesome presentation. And on the back you do have information about the house, what ingredients went in there and whatnot. And then on the top, I really liked that they started doing this on some of the older boxes. It doesn't show very well because the boxes are black. With this being kind of that matte white color, that Zaharoff Z really does stand out. And then on the bottom here, just more information about the house and concentration, stuff like that. So, and then whenever you open the box, if I can get this open, this might be suctioned in. They do have a great suction to these boxes. The fragrance would sit in like such. So overall presentation, I gotta give that an A. Really classy presentation. Love this design. Now let's go ahead and get into the bottle. Again, I'm gonna leave a little video up here for you guys to look at. And this color, I'm telling you guys, this just pops. I love the color of this bottle design. So you have this almost like kind of honey like golden brown juice in here. Absolutely lovely. On the sides it does say curly scent and Zaharoff, as you can see there. And then on the front you do have that metal plaque in here with the same snake design. Even though they still got the little eye, the little Zaharoff eye on there. Super awesome. Her handwriting is still on there. And then you get the cap, and just like with all Zaharoff caps, I'll let you listen. boom, it does snap into place. You can pick this up by the cap. Never recommend doing that, just in case it does fall off. It won't, but you never know. Maybe you didn't put the cap on right, you know what I mean? So overall, stellar presentation. Go ahead and get a spritz for you guys to look at the atomizer here. Just like with all Zaharoff fragrances, atomizers are amazing. Now, that is the presentation. Let's go ahead and get into some of the notes. All right, guys, so going forward with the note breakdown in here, I'm going to read it off of the card. Again, thank you so much for the handwritten note. Appreciate that. But I'm going to read it off of the card. I'm going to leave the notes listed up there for you guys to look at, so you guys will be able to see what I see. So going into this, guys, so this is a 20% concentration. This is a eau de parfum concentration, EDP, as you know, the others are an extrait. This is a eau de parfum. The top notes you're going to get bergamot, honey, rum, sea salt, coffee, pure brandy. In the heart notes, you're going to get cashmere wood, coconut, jasmine, absolute, fig, praline, tonka bean. And then in the bottom, you get musk, sandalwood, amber, vanilla, and oud. So let's go ahead and break this down. So what do I get off of this fragrance? So I'm immediately greeted with just a blast of honey and vanilla. Like, whenever I say a blast of honey and vanilla, that's primarily what I get off of my skin with, you know, the first 5 minutes. It's a very sweet, rich, kind of thick honey and vanilla. There is a bit of that coconut in there. You know, a lot of people say that one of the main things they get is the toasted coconut, or that just a coconut. They say it's like a toasted coconut, but the coconut in there, it kind of plays as like a second fiddle, if you will, off of my skin. It really doesn't make its presence too known. It's kind of there. It's just kind of like this underlying, you know, sweet kind of, not fruity, but kind of almost like, you know, how coconut can just seem almost kind of tropical, but don't think of it as a tropical fragrance at all. But it just kind of has that extra sweetness to it. And then the rum kicks in with that sea salt. And what's really awesome about the sea salt in here, I was talking to one of my buddies about this. Within the first, I'd say 5 to 10 minutes, that sea salt really kicks in, and I was trying to place my finger. I was like, there's something that this reminds me of, and I can't quite put my finger on it, but I was really breaking it down, smelling my hand up close, you know, doing all the testing, and I was like, I've got it. So don't think this smells exactly like that. I'm not saying that this smells like this at all, but it reminded me, it put me in the same mindset of that with this note, because I was trying to pick it apart. What is this? So the sea salt, it kind of reminds me, puts me in the same mindset as like a Elysium Imperial. So you get the sweetness, you get the airiness, you get, you know, that kind of just, I don't want to say nutty vibe that you get from Elysium, but there's almost like this salted caramel type vibe that I've always gotten. That same type of attribute can be applied to that, at least off of my skin. That's what I was attributing it to, and that only lasts maybe a couple minutes, but it did make its presence known. It kind of gave it this airiness to it, and I was like, wow, that's really interesting. And what's really cool about this fragrance is, with it being such a sweet and kind of gourmand fragrance, you might think it's really deep, dark, thick, and rich. And don't get me wrong, it is, you know, kind of a thicker style fragrance, but there is an airiness to it. There's a lightness to it. There's a spice that you get off of this fragrance. You know, think of it as like kind of like baking spices or cooking spices. It's not going to be this heavy, dark, you know, deep, rich oud, honey, vanilla kind of fragrance. It does have those attributes, but there's a, I don't want to say freshness, but there's a lightness to this. And so really do enjoy the scent off of this. And then I would say probably somewhere in the 25 to 30 minute, you know, range, it really starts to get that nutty vibe from that praline, and then it just kind of stays like that throughout the life of the fragrance. That's just off of my skin. So very, you know, sweet and, you know, in your face for the first, I'd say 5 to 10 minutes. Then it kind of starts to, you know, settle down just a little bit, and then you get into that nutty honey, vanilla, praline, you know, almost coffee like vibe to it, and it really just kind of stays that way throughout the life of the fragrance. So it's at least my experience with this fragrance. Now, is it a fragrance that has a lot of development off of my skin? Not really, and that's okay. You know, it's my own skin chemistry. You know, it could be my body chemistry, pH, however you want to put that, but it does kind of stay linear throughout the life of the fragrance, and that's okay. You know, some people like that, and I'm not saying it's a bad fragrance.
I'm not saying this is a bad fragrance by any means.
It does go a little bit linear on my skin. There's not a whole lot of development after, I'd say, probably about 25 to 30 minutes, and that's okay. But I do want to be honest with that. So not a whole lot of development on my skin, and if I'm being 100% honest, it does lean a little bit on the feminine side, and you know, that's okay. I mean, I have lots of fragrances that are geared towards women directly. Like you know, there's a couple of my favorite fragrances, they're actually geared towards women. Love them. This one, I like the scent. It just doesn't develop a lot, and it leans a little bit feminine on my skin, and so it didn't have that richness that I thought that it might. Because if we're going back to, like, say the Siren, it has some of these same notes in here, but it has that ginger and like that dark chocolate, the cognac accord. You know, it was almost leaning on the masculine side. So maybe that's kind of what they were going for on this go around, is maybe a more unisex fragrance, maybe even a little bit more to the feminine side. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that by any stretch of the imagination. Just being, you know, upfront honest with my experience with this fragrance. So I wouldn't say that this is, you know, a super masculine fragrance. I would say this is very unisex, leaning on the feminine side, and that's, you know, that's okay. So that's honestly my experience with this fragrance. Now, let's go ahead and get into the longevity and the projection. All right, guys, so moving forward with the review, going into the longevity and the projection off of this fragrance, it does very, very, very well. So the longevity on this, I'm getting 10 to 12 hours on my skin. That's my experience with this fragrance, and you really don't need a whole lot. So that's what's awesome about this fragrance. So going into the projection, I believe it was last Tuesday or Wednesday, my wife and I, we went out to dinner with my father-in-law. He took us out for my wife's birthday. He, you know, had missed it back in November, so he was taking us out for that, and she only did 2 sprays. I wanted to see what it would do on her skin. We live on the 2nd story. She had went to the car before I did. As I was coming down, I could literally smell the trail that she was leaving behind her. And keep in mind, this is outside and it's cold outside, so you know, it does stick around in the air. The sea outs that you leave behind you is absolutely incredible. Now, I will say this. This fragrance, in my opinion, smells better on my wife than it does me. Not that it's a bad fragrance, but I absolutely love this fragrance on my wife. She wore it and I was like,
dang, that smells good. Like,
this smells incredible on you. So I do have backups bottles, and so, you know, maybe I'll give her one. You know, that being said, this does smell super, super good in the air, and it lasts a very long time. So overall, guys, that's my experience with this fragrance. All right, guys, so that's going to do it for this video. Be sure and comment down below what you thought of the video. What's your experience with this fragrance? Do you like it? Do you not like it? How does it wear on you? Let me know. Have you guys gotten any compliments with this? Do you plan to order it? Have you got it? Have you sampled it? You know the drill. Leave a comment down below, and I'll catch you in the comment section. I'm also going to catch you on the next video. And remember, if you love it, wear it.